Glad to have you join us on this edition of the show. Our guest today will be sharing his thoughts on how to transform our airport leveraging technology, because we cannot continue to be asking for foreign investors on one hand and yet make it a terrible experience for those who decide to visit. We've got this interview and much more coming up on the show. I am Chukwemeka Agbata. Welcome to Tech Trends.
There can be infinity uses of the computer and of new age technology, but if the teachers themselves are not able to bring it into the classroom and make it work, then it fails.
Tade Samson, a young Nigerian trying to make his mark in the education technology sector, says he struggled to learn as a child, an experience he deems an affliction. But just as he disliked reading, he loves playing games on his mobile device. He says he managed to pull through all the way to his university level, experiencing the same problem over and over, until he met two other individuals of like minds, Hussein Alayo and Tobiloba Awugbemi. Together, and with the vision to make learning as fun as playing games, they founded Quizzack in 2019.
It breaks every topics from every subject down into different games. Then as a student or a corporate organization, you could go on to Quizzack, you could pick a topic, and then you could really share it among your employee or among the students, and you all could play together in a real-time manner. So Quizzack is more like we're trying to gamify the experience of learning in the basic world.
The startup wants to help improve the academic performance of students by providing them knowledge as they play games. The web and mobile application, through gamification, motivates and incites engagement among players, a different method from the traditional means of learning. All to show that learning can be fun.
The idea about gamification is that the term itself is a mechanism that helps to motivate an individual to do what you want them to do. So what we want to do with gamifying learning is that we want to motivate every student to read their books. So gamification is all about understanding the problem of every student or an individual, and then giving them a challenge that they will be so much loved to really take on and then solve it. So with Quizzack, for example, we combine different mechanisms that exist in traditional games, such as challenges, such as points, such as badges, such as rewards, and we put them into a platform so that when you play a topic on Quizzack, for example, you score a point. And these points, at the long run, you can use it to get a gem. And these gems, you can use them to claim a reward. So imagine you're learning, and then you know that you can win a reward at the end of the day. So you'll be so motivated to learn. Imagine that you want to become a doctor, and while you're learning on Quizzack, we're telling you that if you are able to finish a particular topic in Quizzack, this is a rank you will get. As a doctorate rank you will get. If you are motivated to become a doctor, this is going to be like a challenge for you to want to really beat that particular problem.
Although the EdTech startup scaled up during the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, they had to pivot their business model to make parents their target and not students.
A lot of these students were using the platform, astoundingly they were using Quizzack, but the problem was they were not paying for us. And then we then realized that, yeah, this is logical, these are students, we're targeting them as a customer, but no, it's the wrong market, it's the wrong customer. Then that was when we realized that we rather have to target the parents rather than the student themselves. Then we changed our revenue model at that point in time during the COVID-19. And then thankfully, the whole effect really get onto corporate organization too. And then they started reaching out to us and they started asking, how possible would it be for them to make sense of Quizzack to be able to create engagement among their employee and the likes. And then we saw that as a bigger opportunity, bigger market that would give us bigger revenue in the long run.
The educational quiz app is aimed at learners, organizations, and teachers to give them a personalized experience as well as enhance their retention for subjects learned.
Three university students have designed and built a robotic dog that walks and barks when it hears any sound. Designed as a black-furred robotic guard dog, the Nigerian students hope it will help fight insecurity in the country when adapted and mass-produced. Solely for security reasons, the robot dog reacts to sound and motion and begins to bark, while the owner can view the cause of its barking on a mobile device without the risk of stepping out into danger. This robotic dog is the invention and final year project of 3 students of the Adekunle Ajasin University in southwest Nigeria.
This is the camera of the dog, which is also called the eyes of the dog. When the dog detects a motion through the motion sensor, immediately it is sending an electric pulse into the dog. It sends also to the camera, and then the camera helps the owner to interact with the dog to see what the dog is actually sensing.
Adeyi and his friends started the theoretical aspects and initial aluminium structure of their project in 2019, but could not come together because of COVID-19 restrictions and lockdowns. They were able to complete it in 2021 after adding sensors, the camera, and fur skin to give the robot a more realistic look.
So I may be in my room, and once I hear the sound of the dog barking, I can just connect my device and just want to see the person in front of the robotic dog. I can even take the picture of the person. I can do the video of the person.
One of the major reasons why we opt for this robotic dog is for us to use it to tackle what the nation faces, which is security. With the help of this innovation, the owner of this robotic dog doesn't have to come outside to see why his or her dog is barking before he or she can know why or what is happening at the environment at that particular time.
The students say the robot dog still needs to be developed further to get it moving, able to avoid obstacles on its way, recognize its owners, and operate in all weather conditions. But the cost of parts, all which have to be imported, remains a challenge. However, the team has a prototype of what the robot should be able to do when complete. Jalili Adedeji, a research scientist at the Adekunle Ajasin University, is supervising the project.
We want the dog to be more aggressive, and we want it to interact with man, with human being, so that it can be used for defense.
It has more advantages ahead of the normal dog that we have. The normal dog has limitations. It can be shot at. But unlike this, even being shot at, it is still perfectly okay. It will still serve its job. And then when we start looking at the next version of the dog, it will have other features that this version 2 is not having.
Nigeria is battling an Islamist insurgency in the northeast and a spate of kidnappings for ransom in the north and northwest. Deployment of technology has been touted in the past as a means of curbing insecurity. Boston Dynamics humanoid robot Atlas has been showing off its new skill, parkour or free running. A video shows Atlas leaping over obstacles, doing backflips, and even falling flat on its face during practice runs. The team says if a robot can develop the same movement and flexibility as the average adult, then the range of potential applications will be practically limitless.
Parkour is a useful organizing activity for our team because it highlights several challenges that we believe to be important. First, how do we build a high power density mobile robot that's capable of extended athletic behavior? How do we design control algorithms that can create a variety of behaviors and control them robustly? And how do we connect perception to action in a way that both captures long-term goals like getting from point A to point B and short-term dynamic goals like adjusting footsteps and applying corrective forces to maintain balance?
Atlas stands 5 feet tall, weighs 190 pounds, uses hydraulics and battery-powered electric motors for movement, and has 3 onboard computers. It is designed to be used as a research and development tool, and its Boston Dynamics team are encouraged to push it to the limit.
It can be frustrating sometimes. The robots crash a lot. It's not the robot just magically deciding to do parkour. It's kind of a choreographed routine, much like, a skateboard video or a parkour video where, it's an athlete that's practiced these moves dozens or hundreds of times even to get to that, that high level, that exciting, capability. So we're kind of doing the same thing here with Atlas. We're exploring, how to push it to its limits, sometimes operating at those limits. And, we learn a lot from that in terms of how to build robots that can survive, falling on their face and getting back up and doing it again. We also learn a lot about the behavior, the control, the thing that, puts one foot in front of the other.
These videos are a true team effort. First, of course, we have the software team who is responsible for creating all the behaviors and control software required to execute the behaviors reliably on the robot. We have a hardware team who's responsible for making strategic upgrades to our robots that enable things like extended dance and parkour routines. Our technicians debug and repair a variety of issues that can range from broken mechanical parts to hydraulic leakages to electrical failures. And our operations staff is responsible for building these environments and repairing them when robots crash through them and helping us run the many, many tests required to get this kind of a demonstration to a high degree of reliability.
The team says Atlas has evolved over the last decade and is now able to adapt movement already in its repertoire based on what its cameras see. The result is it does not need to be pre-programmed for every motion. Instead, the team creates a smaller number of template behaviors that can be matched to the environment and executed online. Boston Dynamics staff say they are helping design the foundation for the skills the next generation of robots will need. Today's Tech Tips takes you through how to save an offline version of maps. Have you ever traveled out of your base and found yourself lost with no connection to the internet? If you want to avoid this ever happening to you, then save a Google Maps offline version following these steps. Step 1. Open your Google Maps app. Step 2. Search for a place like Lagos or Enugu or wherever you may be traveling to. Step 3. Select the area that you would like to save as shown on the screen. Note that you can expand or decrease the size you want by zooming in or zooming out. Step 4. Click Download and remember to give your offline map a name. This process will ensure that you have access to be directed by the map with or without internet. Keep in mind that any saved maps will only remain on your device for 30 days, after which it will be deleted. This is one of the ways technology simplifies life. And that's our tech tips for today.
Next is my chat with Sunday Folanya, CEO, General Data Engineering Services. Stay with us.
Automation in the aviation industry is gaining momentum due to advancements in the fields of robotics. Robots and similar forms of automation have quickly become commonplace due to improvements in machine learning. With better builds and artificial intelligence, they can now not only assist in baggage handling and security, but also in answering customers' queries, thereby shaping the entire passenger experience. Sunday Folayan, CEO of General Data Engineering, shares how we can transform our airports with innovations.
Reverend Sunday Folayan, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you very much, CFA. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
How would you describe the video by Sabbatical, the YouTuber, describing our Lagos airport as corrupt?
Okay, so this guy comes into Nigeria and notices everywhere along the process into the country, there was sleaze. And on his way out, what he did is to carefully document every point of extortion, every illegal toll gate, and every place where unnecessary burden is put on travelers. And he just compiled it and released it. Quite embarrassing, but it provides a window for us to improve ourselves, begin to see how we can make things better. Because obviously, traveling in and out of Nigeria through our ports is a pain. It is a pain.
I mean, I watched that video and I was utterly embarrassed. And one question that came to my mind is, how can technology help?
So technology can help, but what you find out is that every attempt to put technology into use in Nigeria is usually avoided by the people who should know. Why? Because the more you make it opaque, the more it is easy to carry out sleaze. And once technology comes in, it will be easy to get to see all the points, what it should be. Let's pick the airport, for example. Nigeria is probably one of the few airports in the world where you have more than one person look at your passports. So at our airport, there's immigration, there's NDLEA, there's SSS, DSS. Every apparatus is present at the airport, looking at your passport, port health, name it. And at the end of the day, it's as if there is even an unwritten code. When they see an infraction, they alert each other and they soap on whoever is traveling. So if there's a function that needs to be carried out, for example, security function, it should be possible to train immigration such that they know what DSS is looking for. DSS is in the back channel, and once they identify that there's a challenge, they send the traveler to that back channel to be examined by whichever agency they think needs to pay attention. Of course, I want a situation where I get to the airport, I am traveling, I already have my ticket, I put it in, and immediately I can print my immigration card that will get stamped. It's a pain when you have your ticket, you have your passport, everything, you get to the airport again, they give you a form to fill. Why should I fill a form when all the details are already there? And it can just be printed and I sign, it's stamped and I leave. So there's so much opportunity.
Maybe you should go a bit deeper because, the trend is that most countries use their airports to show their strength when it comes to technology, right? So maybe I should ask you what sort of modern technologies can be deployed to our airport today that would make a difference?
So first of all, we don't have scanners that work. The scanners are there, they don't work. So there are very many areas that technology can be put into use at the airports. I, for example, don't like a situation where I am traveling, I have to fill the immigration card all over again. I already have a valid ticket, I have a means of identification, I've used that identification in buying the ticket, I have a scheduled time for departure. I just want to get to the airport, put my passport against a reader, It knows, oh, Folaya is about to travel. It prints my immigration card. I take it to them, they stamp it, I sign, and I leave. Having to fill forms again shows that we really haven't understood what to use technology for at the airport. And there's body count. Everybody entering and exiting the airport. It should be possible to know by facial recognition, by secondary identification, how many people are in the airport terminal at every point in time. Which part of the airport terminal are they? It should not be that anybody can wander into any part of the airport without there being an alarm going off because their identification does not go beyond that zone. And these are things as a nation that we have professionals who can do. Of course, it's not enough to have these things. Maintaining them, making sure they work is important, which they should use the airport taxis to keep running, not to maintain the lifestyles of the people that work at the airport. So yes, we do have institutional challenges that needs to be fixed.
One issue is the issue of giving or accepting bribes at the airport. What technology can solve this particular challenge?
There's no technology that can solve the giving, the taking and giving of bribe. What will solve it is that when whistles are blown, there should be honest people that will act on the whistle that is blown. And believe me, when a fish is rotting from the head, it is rotting completely in the body. So we also need to ensure when we're choosing leaders, that we choose leaders who at least can stand tall and galvanize the people into action. If people know that they can innovate, they can participate in building a better Nigeria and their labors are rewarded, maybe graft will begin to reduce. Maybe stealing will begin to reduce. It is ridiculous that you have people who have worked for Nigeria for 30, 35 years. They are leaving service. They don't even have a piece of shelter. And that's why you see in the last 5 years to people leaving the employment of government, they begin to steal blue and black because they know that if they don't take care of themselves, there is no future for them.
Finally, RSF, in trying to modernize our airport and make it something that we can be proud of, both as Nigerians and also those visiting us, is privatization the way to go? If not, what do you suggest? Because we need a more modern and technology-run airport.
So privatization is often seen as a way to escape reality, but I do not share that view. Let us make our institutions work by making laws that gives them autonomy. We seem to have made significant headway in telecommunications because we have Nigerian Communications Commission. They make laws, every operator tries to follow. Why can't something like Federal Aviation Authority be made to work? FAN should be made to work as an agency that is unfettered. As I said, rule of law is very important. A situation where a minister just stands up and bans an airline is so unprofessional. It's so disgraceful, it's shameful in this country that a minister will just wake up and say an airline is banned. Where is the due process? What infractions? What investigations? Which professionals reviewed it? Recommendations? Of course, minister can make pronouncements. But when you just wake up and you say this airline should not fly, these people should not go, this type of thing should not happen, you're breeding chaos. And out of chaos comes nothing.
All right, on that note, I want to say thank you very much for being on the show today. Let's hope that someone is listening, and let's hope that in a couple of months, we can have an airport that we can truly be proud of. Thank you very much.
Thank you, CFA. You have a nice day. Thank you for Tech Trends.
As you've heard from the CEO of General Data Engineering Services, Sunday Folaya, our national airport can and should be fixed irrespective of whether we go ahead to privatize or not. We simply cannot continue this show of shame, totally unacceptable in this day and time. All Nigerian airports should be super welcoming, and tech can help greatly. We've come to the end of the show, but it doesn't end here. The conversation continues online. Check out the show on Channels TV, YouTube, or cfablog.ng. For Tech Trends, I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.